Well, hello, everybody. Dave Fennoy. Oh, I should say, bonjour, ça va? I am back from France. I was part of J. Michael Collins's VO Euro retreat, and wow, it was amazing. I wasn't quite sure what to expect. Everything looked like it was going to be great, but when it goes beyond what you're thinking, that's a good thing. Top notch all the way. Arrived in Paris on Saturday, spent the night. Actually, on Sunday, spent the night. Took the train to Normandy, and there we stayed at a chateau. All the presenters and most of the people who were taking our classes and workshops. And this is a chateau that was built in 1637. In the room where I slept was a picture of Joseph II when he was 17 or thereabouts. He was the brother of Marie Antoinette, and she had just married the king in France, and he came to see how his little sister was doing, and then went on to become Joseph II of Austria, who turned out to be quite a progressive monarch. I mean, he did things for the people. He made sure that wages were good, health care was available. Not a bad guy. And apparently, we got a little information about Marie Antoinette, and apparently she was very popular until she wasn't. Anyway, enough of that. It was just a wonderful trip. Got to go to Mont Saint-Michel, which is this fortified city church that's built, looks like it's in the ocean, but the tide goes out so far that you can get there, and then the tide rolls back in, and it's like, okay, how did people get to this place? That was started in the 400s. A lot of history, and a lot of great people and great learning at the VO retreat, European retreat. Loved it. So how's everybody doing? What's been going on? What are your questions? What would you like to know about VoiceOver that I may possibly be able to answer for you or help you come up with a solution for this, that, or the other? Or maybe you've got a question that'll leave me scratching my head too. I get asked a lot about how do I take care of my voice. And I have to admit that I live constantly in a state of near voice distress for a number of reasons. Video games is one. And sometimes I don't get enough sleep. And one of the things I noticed on the Euro retreat, I'm overseas, you're not sleeping well, your circadian rhythms are off. And I started to lose my voice a little bit. Well, my cure is two things. One, shut up when I don't have to talk. And two, tea with honey and lemon. And I actually don't even need that much tea. Just the hot water, the lemon, and the honey are wonderful. And I would drink that 3-4 times a day. And it really helps my voice bounce back. It's not 100% right now. But I've managed to do 2 or 3 jobs today and a couple of auditions. So I think we're going to be okay. All right, let's see who's here, and let's see who's got some questions. Well, hello, bonjour, ça va? Yeah, one more thing. A couple of people saying, great that I get to go places. I'm going to open the door of my studio so I can get some air in here. And it is. And I'm saying that because this is not what I expected when I started doing voiceover for a living. I did not expect to be doing anything but working. I wanted to do commercials, TV promos, video games as they are now did not even exist. Cartoons I wanted to do, narrations I wanted to do, and I've had the opportunity to do all those things. But to travel the world, either to teach or to meet fans of cartoons and video games that I'm in, just not expected. And I'm grateful. And that's a little lesson in itself. I think very often we should be more grateful for the blessings in our lives. And often we're so busy thinking about the things we don't have. I want that new microphone. I want that new house, that new car, this better, insert whatever it is here, that we sometimes don't take a moment to look at what we already have and give thanks for that before we step into, I want something else now. But I am grateful. I've had and continue to have a very rewarding, interesting, fun, and lucrative career. And I encourage and hope that all of you have the same. All right. Once my demo is made, is it wise to start looking for agents? What's the best way to start? Well, I would answer that with a question. After your demo's made, what else would you do with it? Well, you get some clients to listen to it on your website. But yeah, absolutely. If your demo's made and you are ready to be represented, yeah, it would be time to start knocking on agents' doors or emailing them and letting them know that you exist. Hopefully, perhaps some of your coaches, perhaps some clients can write you some letters of recommendation, because it's always better to start knocking on doors when you have somebody, that wingman or wing woman, to say, hey, I know Joe. Joe's a great guy. Joe does great stuff, and he worked for us. You'd do well to be representing him. All right. Or in this case, his name is Nathan. Mike Taylor, speaking of video games, you played one of my most favorite characters of all time. That's kind of you to say, Lee Everett. Absolutely the best. How did you land that role? Okay, ordinarily I don't talk about, those kinds of things, but I'm going to talk about it today because it's a little bit interesting. I tell students all the time, whatever job you've got, somebody had before you and somebody's going to have after you. And in this case, it even happened in this video game. Telltale Games got together with the Walking Dead folks and wrote episode 1, or the first season. They got episode 1 done, and they had actually hired another voice. Somebody else was playing Lee Everett. And they listened to the first episode and went, this isn't working. We need somebody else. I had been on another game of theirs, Law and Order, playing a shady politician. And Javier Espinoza, who worked there then, I think Javier's here now if he hasn't moved back up north, said, hey, what about this Dave Fennoy guy? And a week later, I had an audition. And a week after that, they told me I had the part and we'd start recording in a few weeks. We did. And in the first 20 minutes, I knew this was very different and very much, I do want to say better, but it was so narrative. I played a lot of great roles up until that point, but this role, because of the amount of interaction with a variety of different people, it really called upon you to bring your acting skills out. And like I said, the game won 100 Game of the Year awards. I was nominated for Best Actor in a Video Game several times, won a couple, and I think it's still my favorite role for the many gifts that it gave me. All right. Sean, what's going on, man? My voice actually gets much deeper the more I use it, so I find it doesn't match what I did previously if done too closely together. Makes for a mean Batman voice, though. I am Batman. No, you are Batman. Somebody is Batman. Oh, before I'm going to get to your question, Sean. In this chateau, like I said, it was built in 1637, or at least started there, and it had some renovations in the 1700s. I had a room downstairs, but there were a number of rooms upstairs, and one evening as we're all talking and laughing and drinking champagne, someone who had gone to bed or was trying to go to bed came running downstairs. There's bats in my room. There's bats in my room. Well, they had left the window open and the light on. And when you went upstairs in this bedroom, there were like 6 or 7 bats just going round and round and round. And of course, a lot of the ladies were a little nervous. Some of the guys were a little nervous too. I walked right into the room. And we decided the best thing to do was turn the lights out, close the door, and the bats would leave, which is just what they did. And the guy who stayed the longest, we started calling him Batman. It wasn't me. Oh, well, should have stayed longer. Back to your question, Sean. Now, are you talking about during a long job or when you're going back 6 months later? I think you're talking about the more you use it during the day, the deeper your voice gets. You're going to have to get hold of that if it's happening on one job. Sometimes what they'll do is go back and listen to your first few takes. And I find this happens a lot of times on jobs, especially if it's a long job. You're doing a narration, you're doing a video game, and they're kind of dialing it in. But the longer you go, the more comfortable you get in that role or in that style or in that feel, whatever it is. And a lot of times they'll come back and have you redo the front because you had gotten into such a good groove after a little bit. Now, what you're saying is your voice goes from here, and you start here, and then it drops down here, and before you know it, you're down here. I might suggest that you're a little excited when you start, that you're a little elevated, that you're starting here. And one of the things you might want to do is take that deep breath and start in a more relaxed place and see if that doesn't change that dynamic. Because I think what's happening is you're a little excited when you begin. A little bit later on in the gig, you've calmed down, and now your voice is dropped into a comfortable spot. You go back and listen. Oh, geez, what was I thinking? Just try that. See what happens. Hey, Paul, how are you? Great meeting you, too. Let's see. Questions. Hey, how you doing? Boy. There are agencies and then there are agents. Would you explain the real difference? Well, people are always your best resource. Now, people end up working at different companies, or in this case, we're talking about talent agencies. But I find that often when a new talent agency opens, it's with somebody that came from this agency, and it might have been your agent, and that might be the person you have a relationship with. And so a lot of times when one agent leaves to go to another agent or start another agency, people go with them because people are your greatest resource. So a talent agency is only going to be as good as the people there. So make sure that if you've been at a talent agency for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, that you're sure that the good people are still there. I think it behooves you to look around every now and then and see how your agents are doing. Are you feeling warm and cuddly there? Are they paying attention to you? Are they listening to you? Are you getting the kinds of auditions you want from your agent? Always remember your agent is working for you. We often have a habit of feeling, oh man, I finally got an agent. I got an agent. I'm not going to bother them with anything. No, you've got to help your agent find you work. And part of that is giving them the tools, the right demos, showing up for the auditions on time, and communicating with them about what it is you want to do. Maybe they've got you doing a lot of narration, which is fine, and you're killing it, but you want to move into more commercials or do more video games or whatever it is. Let your agent know what you want to do. They don't know to send you the right copy if you haven't informed them that you're interested in these things. Not everybody's interested in everything that they might possibly do. If my agent were to start sending me audiobooks, I would you don't have to send me the audiobooks. As a matter of fact, they have sent me some, and I've turned them down. I said, you know what, I'm just not interested. And once again, for all you audiobook narrators out there, I do not mean to disparage what you do and love. It's just not for me. Okay. How the heck are you, Dave? Hey, Kevin, doing great. Bonjour, Pamela. Dave, is there a voiceover resource guide for France and England that lists, it's not called a resource guide, but hey, we got this thing called Google. And yes, you can find agents in other countries, international agents, and they're looking for American voices. Also, in London, VON, the VoiceOver network there, I would get in touch with them because they have a handle on a wide variety of types of jobs, agents, casting directors in Europe and now even in Australia. Okay. Donovan, what's up, man? Great voice. Jazz Jones. What's your question? Trainer interested in cultivating voiceover opportunities. Are public speaking videos appropriate for voice submission, or should I create separate voice demos? You should create separate voice demos. We live in a world where people are very specialized, and our attention spans are very short. Squirrel. Oh, sorry. So the people who are looking for you to be the voice on a commercial don't want to hear your TV promos. The people who want you for a TV promo don't want to hear your animation. So make sure you have specific demos for specific genres of voiceover so that the people who are hiring in those areas don't just click past you because I really didn't want to listen to that. And nowadays, and I remember some months ago, somebody mentioned, what about the 6-second demos? And I went, what? Well, it's a thing. It's a thing. Once again, because our attention spans are so short, the 6-second demo has become a thing. Well, they don't have to be 6 seconds. They might be 5 to 10 seconds. But generally what they are, they give the prospective client an opportunity to hear you in a particular style and mood that is different. So this might be up and hard sell, and this might be soft and caring. This might be reassuring, but there's 6 seconds. And a lot of time what you're looking at is like, say, the last 6 seconds of a commercial. So call now. If you blah, 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 whatever that is. But it's produced just like a long demo, but it allows the person looking for you or looking for a particular kind of voice to find that particular kind of voice very quickly. All right. Nathan Noakes, I know you and Bill DeWeese have discussed P2P sites. Have your thoughts changed? If so, why? Well, my thoughts on everything are always changing. But anyway, I'm not a fan of P2P sites per se, but by the same token, they are a part of the landscape of now. There's nothing I could do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. They are not going away for the near future. And frankly, they work for a lot of people. I came up in the old school. So agent, union, audition, book, go to studio. In the last 15, 20 years, home studios have become the thing. And it's really grown in the last 10 years. And probably even more in the last 5. And one of the reasons it's grown is because the amount of work has grown. And the pay-to-play sites originally were handling a lot of the work that is not union, that agents weren't bothered with. You go to YouTube and you're watching explainer videos from various companies. How did they find those voices? Probably found them on a pay-to-play site. You're at a company function with your spouse or friend, some kind of dinner and awards, and you hear a voice, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the CEO of our corporation, Mr. Bob Bobson. And where did they find that voice? They found that voice on a pay-to-play site. So they serve a function. Now, over the last few years, they've also been creeping into a lot of commercial work, a little bit of video game work, animation, of course, narration. And they've been whittling away at some of the union work as well. So, and then, of course, we have that one company that is the devil in terms of voiceover that is ripping you off. But For the most part, they're just another way to find work. And a lot of people have found great success in the pay-to-play sites. You need to know how to use them. It's not like having an agent and you send your demos and let your agent know what it is you want to do, and they start sending you auditions. The pay-to-play sites, the people looking for voices are going to put a certain kind of criteria in. I'm looking for a voice like this. It's male, it's female, it's black, it's white, it's whatever. And by those searching criteria, certain voices are going to pop up. So you have to maximize the opportunities for you to be found. Kind of ties back to those 6-second commercials we were talking about. So learn to use the pay-to-play sites, to use the algorithms that they use to be found, and you will up your game on the pay-to-play sites. If you do that, you can make them work for you. Be careful, though. Unlike your agent who doesn't make a dime until you make $1. Hey, I like that. Your agent doesn't make a dime until you make $1. I just thought of that. Wow. Pat myself on the back. The pay-to-play site, you pay them first. And then they will offer another level. So maybe you were paying $300, $400 for a year. And they say, well, listen, if you just give us $2,500, you will get auditions first. We will make it easier for the clients to find you. And wow, we have an extra super premium gold level for $5,000. You'll really get to see our best jobs first and fast. And we'll put up a little picture of you and a little page. Those kinds of things bother me a lot. But it's how it is right now. All right. Herzlin Talks. What's a good way to get higher energy without your voice going up? How do you do it when you just have a lot of energy? Do that. When you're excited about something, your voice comes out in a certain way. Oh man, it is so cool. I'm so happy. Woo, woo, woo. I'm excited. It just happens. You just do it. A lot of times, and one of the things I teach is we have to let go of I'm controlling my voice to make myself seem like I'm in this mood or that mood, and actually create the mood. We talk about it a lot in voice acting for video games, that it's not how you say the words that make the words come across the way they're supposed to. It's representing the feelings, the thoughts of your character. Play that. Play the emotion and feeling of your character, and the words will come out the way they're supposed to come out. Well, guess what? That works in commercials and narration and promo. Now, there are some guidelines for those genres that are a little different. You don't have as much room for sighs and thoughts and grabbing for words in other genres. But it's the same game. Play your thoughts and feelings, and the words will take care of themselves. One of the problems we have with really ready reads is we're trying to make the words mean something, so we're saying them so hard. And in real life, that's not how we speak. In real life, it's phrase, 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 phrase. We glide over the words. And all too often, when you pick up that piece of paper and you're reading and you're trying to make the words have the feeling, have the thought. The words will come out the way they're supposed to. All right. Miss Kent, is that yes, someone spotted it. Woohoo! This is a souvenir from France. Yes, I went to the souvenir shop and bought myself a souvenir. I bought a few souvenirs, as it were. So thank you for noticing, Samantha. Well done. Well done. Jen Henry, bonjour, ça va? Everyone is raving over your session in Normandy with J. Michael Collins. If you have a single thing you'd like students to take away from workshops and training with you, what would it be, in addition to besides skills? I think I just mentioned it. Play your thoughts and feelings. don't try to make the words have meaning based on, oh, these are the words on the page, and I'm going to say them like this. I'm going up on this word. I'm going to speed up here. I'm going to put a comma here and a pause. Play your thoughts and feelings. That's what I would say. And how the words come out will take care of themselves. Kevin, Katie, you provide animation coaching. Yes. Can you elaborate? I do animation, but I've been in a lot more video games than I have been in cartoons. And cartoons, animation leans kind of comedic, and video games lean a little more dramatic. That's not to say that one doesn't have the other. So animation will have some drama, and drama will have some comedy. But when I look at the cartoons that I tend to do, most of them are adventure cartoons. So I'm playing characters who are, in dramatic situations. They may have some funny lines, but the comedy in video games is more like the buddy movies that have to save the world. Yeah, there's a few games that have some goofy stuff going on, but for the most part, video games are a lot more like motion pictures. So I shy away from teaching animation. What I teach is how to act, how to become a better actor in video games. Because I have a lot more experience with that. I've developed some techniques that really work. And so I, in terms of animation video games, I stay in that lane. Yeah, I'll teach promos. Yes, I teach narration. Yes, I teach commercial and general reading of copy. But in terms of games or animation, it's games. All right. Hey, Sam, what's up? Thank you for that insight regarding Thank you for that insight regarding communication with agents. This is really inspiring. Thank you. You are welcome. Samantha Kent, I'd love to hear you narrate audiobooks. I've done 3. I hope to never do a 4th. Okay, there's a caveat to that. There's some books that I will do. They're a little shorter. I'm doing a series of books now on civil rights, playing certain civil rights leaders. I am also right now, well, it's not really a book, but I'm playing a part in what is damn near as long as a book, informational guide about health. But I just don't want to be in the studio reading the same thing day after day after day after day after day, when I can be in my studio doing some promos and some commercials, a little narration, some video games. I can go to another studio, do some video games, do some commercials, do some promo, come back home, have lunch. And like my buddy Scott Brick, who is the king of audiobooks, says, unless you enjoy being in a closet for 8 hours by yourself, audiobooks may not be for you. If you love it, cool. It's probably the easiest opening into VoiceOver now. And if that's what you want to do, go for it. Takes a long time to make a little money, though. I got spoiled, and I know I've told this story before. Walked into ABC one day years ago. I was doing promos for ABC, and they said, oh, say that. It was just one word. They said, say it. Next. They said, you're done. Get out of here. They put it on 25 spots. 2 weeks later, I had a check for $5,000. I think about that $5,000, one word. One word, $5,000, and how long, how many words you have to say to make some money in audiobooks. And more than even that, I just get bored. My attention span isn't that long. All right. So you may have several demos that are all aimed at specific audience or client. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, unless you just want to work in one genre, you should have a variety of demos. And I'm going to say this as most people, because you don't have to do it this way, but most people start with a commercial demo. After they get their commercial demo, they might want to do a narration demo. Then they might want to do an animation demo. Well, nowadays, even within the commercial demos, you can have financial services, you could have foods, you could have cosmetics, you could have health. All those could be specialties. And we kind of back up to those 6-second commercials again, 6-second demos, where you could point those out. You could have short demos for each industry. This is how specific it is getting. If you're doing promos, perhaps you're going to have drama promos, comedy promos as another demo, sports promos as another demo. It can get crazy, but the more you can have the right thing for that person that's looking for that one thing, because, man, I'm looking for somebody to do promos for football games, and I don't want to listen to promos for soccer and tennis and baseball, just football. It's gotten to be like that now. So the more variety of demos that you can have, so you can have a commercial demo and then categories within that, sports and then categories within, or promos and categories within that, and then you hit that sports and category, it can get nuts. It can be very expensive. But you are going to need at least commercial, narration, TV promo, and animation and video games, and then branch out from there. And her mind is blowing now. I just know it. When starting out after taking oodles of VO classes and having a solid demo, should a new VO actor try to get more than one agent, or should she start off with one agent for a while, assuming she can get one? You know, I think you should definitely go for one agent and then some other agents. We're living in a world now where people who have an agent, like I have an agent in LA, I have an agent in New York, in San Francisco, in Seattle, in Dallas, in Florida. I have agents all over the country and in some countries around the world. So why wait? Why wait? Little business advice somebody told me once: it's going to take you as much energy to hit the biggest client you could ever dream of as to hit the little client that's not going to pay you very much. So you might as well shoot your shot at the stars. Aim for the moon. You might land among the stars. So I would say do your homework, find that list of agents in different places that are covering the areas that you want to cover, and get your demos to them. Also, we're in a do-it-yourself world now. So on your website, you need to have, it needs to be easy for other clients to find you, hear your demos, contact you, because it may be a while before the agent thing is working for you. Get your rate sheet together so that you don't hem and, and you can do this through research. You can find out what are the standard prices people are paying. You don't want to undersell yourself. You don't want to oversell yourself. And you certainly don't want to go in sounding unprofessional. Well, I'd like to get, is $150 too much? Because, I don't know, I'm just starting out. That's not the conversation you want to have. Somebody finds you. Oh, hi, I'm so glad you called. Oh, yes, I'd be happy to do that. You like my demo? That's great. Well, listen, what's in your budget right now? Let me look at my rate sheet here. I can show this to you. Oh, yeah, for that kind of work with this number of words, I charge so-and-so. And then shut up and see what they say. Oh, that's great. I recently, there was a job I really didn't want. Actually, it wasn't a voiceover job. It was going someplace at the last minute to make an appearance, and I tried to price myself out of, I would need at least $10,000 for that. And they went, oh, great, sure. Well, maybe I'll get the $10,000. We'll see. I haven't decided if I'm actually going to do it yet. Aaron Nurse, what's up, man? Master Fennoy, do you recommend creating voiceover-related content when you have the skill to skill set to do skits, parodies, animation, music, etc. These are the kind of questions you had it in your mind. I want to do something. We're living in a world now where everybody's got a YouTube channel of some kind. Everybody's putting out little stuff hoping to go viral. So yeah, absolutely. If you're a creative person, create some stuff. Put it out there. You don't know where it's going to take you. You don't know who's going to listen to it and go, yeah, I like this dude. You could become a thing. But don't keep your light under a bushel basket. Spread yourself out to the world. The things you do for free, that you do for love, and you put out there and people see, so often become the thing that makes you very wealthy, the thing that you now get to do and somebody pays you big bucks. I think of the show Insecure. That young lady was putting out videos about her life as a 30-something black woman, and she might have been a 20-something black woman then, with actors and friends of hers, low-budget YouTube channel. Now she's got a YouTube show that is a huge hit. And by the way, if you haven't watched Insecure, you should watch Insecure. Great show and real insight into people of her age and how they live. The Snap demo. No sound beds, music effects, just a pure 10-ish second read. Yes, no. I would say no. What you want the listener, the person that's going to hire you, to feel is that this is something that was an actual commercial or an actual TV promo or an actual, insert genre here. People in the entertainment business, people in the imagination business often don't have much of an imagination. They really need to hear what you would sound like doing that thing, as opposed to, I could put that voice with this music and make this thing happen. They want to hear something that sounds like, oh yeah, that's how I want my thing to sound. Now, auditions, totally different thing. They know what music they want. They've given you instruction. They're going to take the voices they get and they're going to lay them against them. First of all, they're going to listen to them. First of all, they're going to go, I don't like his slate. That's going in the trash pile. They're going to listen to the first 5 or 10 seconds, more like 5, and see if you actually got what they were trying to sell. And if they think your voice fits what they're trying to do. And then if they do, you'll move up to another pile. And, so we went from 1,000 voices to 100 voices. And then they'll whittle that down to, 50 voices and down to 20 and down to 5. And all of those, they'll play them up against the music and so forth and so on. But they're not going to take your so-called demo, not audition, demo that's just dry, just your voice. It's not going to make it. You're hurting yourself if you try to do that. All right. Embody the feelings and the words will take care of themselves. Well, you're writing that down so you remember. Good. Looks like you had fun in Paris. I was there too. What are the highlights from the conference? Well, we had lots of foie gras. Goose liver, and maybe even too much. As a matter of fact, too much foie gras. I've been trying to cut back on bread and butter. It's impossible to do in France. It's impossible. The bread, the butter is so good. But highlights, I got to hang out with my buddy Joe Cipriano. That was a gas. I like to go sit in on other people's classes, and I'm always happy when a pro voice that I know comes in and sits in on my class. And so there was some of that. I sat in on Joe's class and a couple other classes. The camaraderie, being there and staying up late at night talking about anything, often not voiceover, often voiceover. And the kinds of conversations about voiceover that you can have when you're outside the classroom, you're sitting at dinner or you're having drinks or just sitting in the lounge or taking a walk on the grounds, and something comes up and you're having a conversation that you might not have had otherwise. You're able to reveal or have revealed to you secrets, tips that may have been missed in a class context. Getting to know people. One of the things when you're coaching, I try to find out who the person is, because who you are is the secret sauce. People are, oh, gee, what do I need to do to make them love me, to make me like me? What can I do to be different, to be unique, to be yourself? You are the secret sauce. No one is you. Now, a lot of times we've been so busy listening to this voice and that voice and how they deliver this, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but you need to find out who you are. And sometimes the way to do that is ask people, how they feel when you're around and talking to them. If people are always laughing at the things you say, hopefully because you were trying to be funny, that may be something you want to work into what you're doing in voiceover. If people just listen because it seems like you know what you're talking about, even when you don't, that's a direction you probably want to go in. But it's you. I'll give you a little tip here. I suggest to people often to listen to themselves when they're not thinking about what they sound like. Turn on your phone recorder when just some friends are around, you're talking, doing whatever, having fun, playing cards, watching TV, telling jokes, arguing with each other about politics or whatever. Just listen to what you sound like when you're just being you. Go for that. Try to find the essence of that. This is amazing. Thank you. So glad you were related to someone. Thank you for your sharing. So glad. Blah, is there a question in there? Oh, no. But we'll chat soon. Love the one-word story versus audiobooks. I'm with you. And I was at a conference, VO Atlanta, a couple of years ago, and I was sitting on the dais. We were answering questions, and I kind of told that story and said, well, I've done 3 audiobooks. I hope to never do a 4th. They're not for me. I like blah, 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 blah. And then an audiobook lady got up, and she was kind of looking over at me. Well, for those of us who support our children and make a living and buy our homes and our groceries with audiobooks, we are very proud of the work we do. And, the eyes are just like, well, damn, baby, if looks could kill, I'd be dead now. And that's not what I meant. Audiobooks aren't for everybody. TV promos aren't for everybody. Video games aren't for everybody. Do the thing that you love and that you're good at. If you enjoy it, chances are you're going to have more success with it. And nobody's telling you have to do audiobooks or commercials or that. Create your own world. That's all I was saying. I think she's still mad at me. Thank you, Cheryl. Nice of you to say. Sensitive question. When a VO asks for a certain ethnicity, and you are that ethnicity, but you don't sound particularly stereotypical, do you not bother to respond to ethnic jobs? Oh, no, I want all the jobs. But I understand what you mean. Excuse me for 1 second. You thought I was drinking water, right? But I'm hydrating. I remember when I first started my career in Los Angeles, and sometimes I would get the white director that would say, can you make it blacker? And I kind of knew what he wanted, but I finally said, I'm not sure I understand what you mean by blacker. I mean, do you want a New York black banker? Do you want a street thug? Do you want a guy from the Mississippi Delta that couldn't get past fifth grade? Do you want a Harvard professor? I mean, we are, a diverse people. Would you ever ask a white actor to make it whiter? And I wasn't doing this with rancor. It's an education because there are stereotypes and there are stereotypes, and most of us are beyond stereotypes. I understand playing a character that may be less educated, that may not speak the king's English, or in this case, the president's. No, we don't want to speak the president's English. Speak standard English. You're playing a character, and that's who they are, as long as that character is being played with respect. And I say the same thing about accents. Be careful when you're doing accents. Are you doing that accent to ridicule the people who have that accent, or are you being true to that accent and honoring who the character is? So no, I'm happy to play black characters or characters that we find stereotypical in a number of ways. But I want more information than just, make it blacker. Black from where? Black at what age? Black at what education level? Black with what feeling about A, B, C, D? Be more specific. So I would say go for it. You want to be you when you can just bring you to the table? Great. But as actors, we often are playing a variety of characters that aren't us. Sometimes they're more educated, sometimes they're less educated. They got more money, they got less. That's what we do. All right. All right, you're welcome. How do you slate an audition? Dave Fennoy. Or Dave Fennoy as Dave Fennoy 2 takes. Now, I don't want to go overboard with, this is Dave Fennoy. No, I don't want to go overboard with it, but I also don't want to be so dead in energy that they go, oh, God, who's this guy? Dave Fennoy. No, who wants to hear that? I try to match whatever the energy, if doing a commercial TV promo, I try to match whatever that energy is going to be. For a video game, I might, this is Dave Fennoy as this character. Just give an idea of what I was thinking and number of takes. But make sure your slate has enough energy without being ridiculous. Hi, this is Dave Fennoy. No, nobody wants to hear that. Okay. Thanks, Dave. Ate too much bread there, too. Hey, Michael, what's up, man? Is it possible to do voiceover in cities like Toronto or Vancouver, even if you live in Los Angeles? Why, yes, it is. They have this new thing. It's called the internet. And with the internet, you can work from one place to another place amazingly simply. So, yeah, you can. Absolutely. These days, Mac microphone, high-speed internet connection, and you can be almost anywhere and do voiceover. Now, what you can't do necessarily are all the jobs that are available. If I didn't live in Los Angeles, there would be cartoons and video games that I couldn't do. There'd be some commercials I probably wouldn't get. Because this is a hub, a center for a variety of things, and there are great studios here, and directors and production companies want to pull you into those studios and have control. A lot more work around the country and internationally from home studios for lesser-known projects. A lot of times you could look at it as broadcast and not broadcast. There's a lot more broadcast work that you can do from anywhere, or I tend to call it high profile, low profile. You can make as much money in the low profile work as the high profile work, and you can do it from a wider variety of places. Okay. Dave, I always hear people talking about different ways to handle the unexpected success. Can you speak to that? Also, what are some of the ways to help people understand how to view the failed audition as learning opportunities. Unexpected success. Wow. I expected success, so I don't know that my success for myself was unexpected. Sometimes success can happen faster than you thought it would, or bring you more money than you thought you were going to get at a certain time. And then when you realize that there are ups and downs, it can be a little disconcerting. My suggestion would be always know that to save your money, don't spend everything you make. And just because you're going up doesn't mean you're going to always go up. You're going to go up for a while and you're going to go down. You may go back up. This has happened in my career, and everybody I know who is successful, their career has had ups and downs. So keep your head on your shoulders. Have that friend. Was it the Roman emperors used to have a guy behind them to remind them that they were mortal, that they were not gods, that would walk behind them and tell them, you are only a man, you are only a man. You should have somebody like that in your life. The failed audition. You don't book the job for so many reasons. If you've ever sat in on a casting session and listened to the number of auditions that come in, there's a bunch of really good ones. There are 10, 12, 15 people that could book that job, and it'd be wonderful. But typically, casting decisions are being made by committee, and you may be somebody's first choice, but somebody else was everybody's second choice. If you're talking about animation, video games, how does your voice fit with the other voices that are already hired? How many Twitter followers do you have? Any number of reasons that you didn't book the job when in your studio, when you did the audition. Oh, man, I nailed that. Oh, that's mine. And then the call doesn't come. If you're nailing the audition, sooner or later, you're going to be booking those auditions. And often, if your audition is really great, they remember you for something else. If we're talking commercials or TV promos or something. In video games or animation, a lot of times, you auditioned for this, and then they book you for another part that they think you're going to be right for. So just know if your auditions are good, you're going to be booking. It's not personal. You may be broke, but it's not personal. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome, welcome, welcome. How do you know when you're ready to start taking more serious, pricier voiceover classes? It's like being in love. You know what? I need to know some new stuff. I need to know some stuff that, these classes can give me. If you're trying to broaden your horizons, and it's in a genre that you're not familiar with, learn early. You don't have to make mistake after mistake after mistake and then finally get it. I remember talking to a guy saying, I don't need voiceover lessons. I know how to talk. Yeah, I just to make it happy. I'll make it happy. And a lot of times people feel like that, and what you end up doing is practicing mistakes. And you're just embedding the reasons that they're not going to hire you. By the same token, don't lose so much of yourself and your confidence that you agree with everybody that tells you you're not ready. You got to find that balance, which means you have to have a little sense. And of course, if you're thinking about taking my classes, yes, of course you're ready. No, just kidding. How do you slate different takes on an audition? Do you slate each take to say how it's different? No, they'll hear how it's different, and they don't want to listen to that much. Can you imagine? Hi, this is Dave Fennoy, and on this first take, I'm going to do such and such and so and so. It's going to be a little languid, and then I'm going to go up here. No, just Dave Fennoy, 3 takes. You do the first take 2, second take 3. They don't want to hear a book about, your thoughts on your takes. Still working on getting connection open to work through my firewalls, but it works great if you're not behind several firewalls. They're going through, believe me, when this thing comes out, it's going to be great. They're tweaking and getting rid of some problems so it'll be plug and play. But when it works, it really is amazing, and people are going to love it. I recently read that article that said not to slate your name on your audition when submitting for online casting notices, as the agent CD can see your name on the submission, and it's redundant to add your name, and they may not listen past your name. Your thoughts? I have had agents that don't want you to slate. I've had agents that do want you to slate. Most people want you to slate. If you're on a casting site that says don't slate, hey, don't slate. Not that big a deal if they're going to be able to, find out who you are and love your read. I could imagine some reasons that guy, yeah, we've heard his name a lot. You know what? We don't want him on there because we've heard him all the time and we're looking for something new. Or, wow, we've heard this guy a lot. We want him on there because, you don't know. You just don't know. It could go either way. Thank you, Thomas. I'm glad to be home. That's something about, I had a great time in France, but I was ready to come home. I like my house. I like my home. I like my couch. Darla Ann Middlebrook, hello, Dave Fennoy. Finally got through to you. Just want you to know that you're one of the several people who have encouraged me to continue working toward audiobook narration work. I encourage someone with audiobook narration? Well, will wonders never cease. I've done several audiobooks and have. Good. Well, I wish you much success. Where can I find source material for video game demo? Well, lots of different places. If you're working with me to create a demo, I help you find that. I have copy from games and auditions, and we change this and this and do some rewrites so that it fits you. It may have been written for with some women now. I take some men's copy and have them do that when we're doing tough girl, warrior chicks. And boy, did that sound sexist, didn't it? But anyway, you can also use dialogue from movies. I'm a fan right now of monologues. You won't get the whole monologue in there, but you can get a little chunk. And what we're really looking for in video games these days is good acting. And you want to show that you're a good actor, that you can play a variety of roles, a variety of moods, variety of genres of games, because, you've got post-apocalyptic games, you've got rom-com games now, you've got war games, you've got sword and sorcery games, you've got as many movie genres as you can think of, you've got that many video game genres. I used to think of, you want certain kinds of characters that we saw a lot in video games, one of which would have been an AI. You want a king or queen, a princess, a prince, a warrior, a sorcerer. Well, those days are kind of gone. All too often, no, it's not too often, but very often, nowadays, your character, it could be just a regular person in extraordinary circumstances. Ordinary person, extraordinary circumstances. So doctor, nurse, bus driver, whatever it is, it's a person who has to live through whatever's going on in that game. And then, of course, you get to play the monsters that those people have to live through. So it could be almost anything. And once again, if you're looking for genres, find the movie that is in the genre, the movies that are in the genres that you want to represent, and cull some copy from them. Or, once again, if you're working with me, it's part of what you pay for. On average, how many auditions would you expect to book through your agent versus your own searching? Well, I don't do that much searching per se. So most of my work comes through my agent or previous clients. Sometimes somebody books me because somebody, oh yeah, you should get Dave Fennoy. So that happens. But I'm kind of old school because I've been doing this a long time. I recommend that people who are just getting in or have only been doing it for a little while, don't count on just your agent. Get out there, find clients, pay-to-play sites, except for the devil one we all know about, because it's a different game now than it was. When you're working with someone on their video game demo, do you put the scripts together for them? How involved are you in the process and processing construction of the demo? Here's what I do. Well, if you buy the package, it's $2,500, not cheap. You will give me half up front, and we will work we'll have at least 2 sessions. And because I'm more generous than some, if we need it, we'll have 3. But generally, if I've worked with you for a while, you're ready. I typically will not work with somebody who's not ready to do their demo. And I don't just take people who want their demo done and say, hey, let me give you some money and do a demo for me. No, I got to work with you. I have to know you're ready to do your demo. But we'll have at least a couple of sessions of, I'll pick some copy, more than you need. We'll have a session where we go through that copy, give you an opportunity to pick the things that you feel comfortable with, that you like. We'll do some rewrites, and we'll hone that for 2 or 3 sessions until we get that right. And then we'll do our session. And whether you come to my studio and record, or I have had clients that are in other countries that I direct them from here to there. They're recording in another studio there or their own. They send me the files. I go back through the files. I pick the heroes. I make notes on what kind of music production I think there should be, what kind of order I think it should be. I have several production partners. I will choose one of them, send those notes, talk with them, and it'll be 3 or 4 weeks after that. Your demo will be done. They'll send it back to me first, and I will take other notes. If it's perfect, great, and often it is. Sometimes let's move this around. We should start with that, because part of what I want to feature is your voice. Your voice is the star of the show. I don't want you to do too many accents. If you do accents well, great. We want them on there, but we want to feature your voice. Monster voices, great. We can put them on there, but we want to start with your voice. Maybe we do something a little different, return to your voice, maybe something a little different, and return to your voice. Now, that means your voice doing different characters, but your voice. You notice how all your favorite actors, they sound like themselves in parts. They're not always coming up with strange, different voices. We have more ability to do that with video games, but your voice will be the star. Your voice will be the star of your demo. Stephanie, I work in video game realm, but curious what agents are really looking for in a commercial demo. When they say variety in a commercial demo, does that mean your voice, but with different personality, or your personality in different situations? I want to make sure there is something that feels uniquely me within it. Any advice? Absolutely. You want to be uniquely you. You have a particular worldview, but sometimes you're a little happier. Sometimes you're a little more excited. Sometimes you're a little more serious. Sometimes you're a little more caring. Sometimes you're a little more worried. All those human emotions are what you want to show as ways of selling, how you touch the person you're talking to. So I would say between different levels of excitement, speed, and different emotions, then you also want to get a variety of types of commercials. So financial, food, retail, cosmetic, a variety of the things that we we do in this world that are available to buy. Technology, all those kinds of all the things that you see that are being sold. You want to have different categories of those. Shoes, Nike. That's what you want to do. So just off the top of my head, maybe you want to do a national restaurant chain. Maybe you want to do a national retail chain. Maybe you want to do an automobile, some kind of car, sports shoe, financial services, health care, Medicare kind of a thing, or insurance kind of a thing. You might want to do some retail, but it's national retail that's fun. Something, whatever your age group is, you want to do something in your age, things that they're interested in, a variety of fields and a variety of products. And she's laughing at me. Well, I've had enough and it's 7:05. Anyway, listen, great questions, you guys. I love it when, we have some really good questions and I can give you some feedback on those things. Hope it's helping some peeps. And thanks for all the welcome backs. And I will see you next Wednesday because that wraps up this episode of Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. All the best, you guys. I'll see you when I see you. Bye.